Hey guys, welcome to Wednesday, Cardone University Mastermind. My name is Steve Sprague, coming to you live from the 305. Guys, welcome. We're excited to be here. We're excited to have you. If you guys want to dial in, today's going to be one of the most important shows that we've ever done here at the Cardone University Mastermind. We're going to be covering a topic that is not understood by a lot of people and is one of the most important things that you ever want to do, is basically learn how to keep stats, keep track, the numbers do not lie. Okay, the numbers do not lie. That's what I want to actually cover. So for me as a salesperson, I never knew this information. I never knew it, and so for me, I wasn't ever successful at it. And let's see here. What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to pull up the category. Grant does a video inside 100 ways to stay motivated under time management. And under time management right here, this is where you're going to be able to find it. So Grant talks a lot about controlling time. And he talks about keeping statistics on everything that's important. It's video number 4. It's right here. Okay, so keeping statistics on everything that's important. So if you guys want to call in, you want to drop in some questions on keeping stats, what you should keep track of, I'm going to talk to you about what I know about stats. Our whole business is ran off stats and numbers. So if you come into our office, you'll see graphs all over the place. In our sales department, we've got TVs up. There's 14 TVs in the actual sales room, and they all have different stats on them. So we are tracking everything. So what's Grant talk about when it comes down to keeping stats, tracking the things? What he says is, dude, the more important the statistic is, the more important the goal is, the more important it is for you to keep track of it. So what I want you to do right now, let's do an exercise. I want you guys to actually write down, hey, what things are important to you, okay? I'm going to do this exercise myself. So this is what I keep track of. Money. Okay, but money could actually be a couple different things. So I'm going to actually spread this out into income, investments. Okay, so we've got income and we've got investments. Man, it's hard to do it. You gotta color it in there. So we've got income and investments for money, right? What about sales? So I can't get to either of these if I don't do sales. Right, so I'm like, sales, okay, so I'm going to keep stats on sales. Your company probably does this. You probably know what you do. I bet most people are not keeping stats on, hey, where is my graph? Where am I at for the month? Where am I at for the year? Where am I at over my career? If you look at my career stats, you're going to see a graph that just basically, it's going to do this. It's going to have some, it's going to go up like that, right? I wasn't making a lot of money at one point, and then all of a sudden I started going up, sales going up, right? So I got to continue this graph, because if I don't do that, let me step aside from the list real quick, and I'm gonna tell you this. This is going to be the most important thing. If you guys are taking notes right now, you want to write this down. Any graph that stays flat, man, the phones are blowing up, will fall. Okay, if you've ever seen this, write that down right now. I want you guys to write this down. I want you to keep it next to your bed. I want you to hand this note, write it on a note, hand it to your spouse. I want you to hand it to your kids. I want you guys to talk to your managers about it. I want you to know this one piece of information. Any graph that stays flat will actually fall. So it's real important for you to understand this, because when you're tracking money, when you're tracking investments, when you're tracking sales, when you're like for me, like I track my fitness. I can't lose weight or get in the shape I want to unless I actually track, hey, what is it? Maybe I do 100 push-ups in one set, and I'm like, dang, dude, that was great. But compared to what? Like, I need to graph it out, right? So, dang, man, like, how many callers do we have? Dude, let's just take one. This is a good topic. People like it. Yeah, here, let's go ahead and take a caller, man. These guys are lit up. We got, oh, okay. Oh, so you guys are holding on that? I got it. Oh, they can't hear it. I got it. So if you guys are calling in right now, they're handling the phones. So what I want to do is I want to talk about this. So any graph that basically stays the same, it will fall. So I want you to pay attention to that. You know, think about income. Think about a guy who maybe it's you and you're thinking, you know, hey, I do pretty good. Let's just say you make 100 grand and that's a lot of money to you where you live and it's a lot of money and you're like, hey, I do good, right? So I make 100 grand every year on the dot. Well, look, if you keep making 100 grand, that line, it actually falls flat. Expenses go up, inflation goes up. You know, it's not something that's sustainable. You can't keep anything flat. Nothing stays the same. It either goes down or it goes up. Now, when your sales are down and money's down and anything is down, how's your attitude? How's your attitude? Okay, I'm going to go to this, Francisco. If you want to show my screen here on the sales process. What's the first thing in the sales process other than stating, hey, here's the importance of the sales process? The first thing is got to get your attitude right. So when your graph is down in any stat, any statistic, man, it will affect your attitude. It's not something like anytime I'm not physically in the right condition, bad attitude. Anytime I'm not making money, bad attitude. Okay, which leads there's a ripple effect to that, which leads into more no sales, more missed opportunities, and then I take that home with me. Then I'm at home with no sales, no deals, and I've got family. You know, there's things that they want to do, like they want to eat. They want to eat food, you know, they want me to pay the bills. They want me to pay for the phone. They want to, you know, so like this stuff is really important. So let's trickle this all the way down because we started with the list, but I want you guys to know, hey, what should I keep stats on? So if sales is one thing, you should definitely do that. Some of the things that we actually keep stats on that could sometimes be a little bit more important to really track on a day-to-day basis. Appointments. Appointments are going to be some of the most important thing that you want to track. Here's why. No appointments equals no demos. No demos equal no deals. So what I want to do is I want to graph these out. And this is where if you don't have the data, then you can't actually track and find out what the number is. So, you know, one thing that I know is that like our closing ratio once we get somebody on appointments. I mean, we get a lot of, just like you guys, like we're working on setting better appointments too. So collectively over an entire sales team, usually about 50 to 60% show rate on the appointments. Then what happens is, you know, we usually sell about 1 out of every 2 deals, which is about a 50%. Well, if they've got about a 60% show rate, we get about a 50% close rate. So, like, what's important here? Do I work on my closing right now? Do I work on my appointment show? We can work on those. That's what Cardone University's for. That is what the training is set for. But if we go back to this and we're like, dang, dude, like what Grant always talks about, if you watch any of his videos, you watch any of his like best practices, he's like, dude, you want to make money? You need to focus on appointments. You got to fill up the pipeline. So you guys got to identify, hey, what's the most important thing here? So you want to start keeping track on how many appointments that you have. Did you guys get that? No? It's all whacked.
Yeah, they're common.
So we got to keep a graph on technology that works around here. Okay, right now we're in a down stat. Maybe we left it flat. Yeah, we left that, see, that what happens, we left that stat flat and all of a sudden, boop, it went down. Now we got no callers. Okay, I mean, we have callers, we just can't answer them. Yeah. So, yeah, I know, they're trying to get in. I'd blast my cell phone out on this thing, but that'd be crazy. You guys would be lighting me up, man. I'd be getting 3 a.m. calls. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to focus on this. So like for me, in order to get deals, Grant says in the video, he says, the more important the thing is, the more you should track it. So I want you to ask yourself, are you tracking your deals every single month? Or do you even track appointments? I would be willing to bet that most people on this call, they're not tracking appointments. So like in our office, we are looking every single day for appointments. We know how many appointments we need to get X amount of deals. So this is where you can start putting your attention on the things that matter the most. So like for me, like I wake up every day and I know, hey dude, if I get 2 appointments today, I know what that looks like next month. If I do 4 appointments today, I know what that looks like next month, okay? There's a sad Steve and there's a happy Steve, okay? Sad Steve is probably 2 appointments because if I get 1 appointment, 1 shows, I end up with no deals, okay? Now, if I'm doing that every single day, 2 deals, like I even it out. But what I'm really focused on, since I do know the data, is that, hey, I need to do at least 4 appointments every single day so that way I can work on getting a deal every single day. So that's the math for me. Your math may be a little bit different. So, you know, maybe you make profits higher on 1 deal, or maybe 4 appointments in 1 day and that's not enough for you. Maybe you need 5 deals per day. You got to figure out. That's why Grant says, he's like, hey, the more important the thing is, the more you should keep stats on it. Now, we look at appointments, but we know what comes before appointments. What actually comes before appointments, right? So we got dials, right? If you're on a phone, it's talk time, right? So we've got, and I'm terrible at this. So we've got dials and we've got talk time, right? So then I'm going to keep track of these. So I'm actually looking at this every single month. So the way that we actually focus on deals here and know and project what we're going to do is we go back and we look at, hey, how many dials did I do last month? What was my talk time and how many presentations did I do? Because that number typically can lead into, hey, how many sales am I going to make this month? And then how many sales am I going to make for the quarter? So I literally can project based off how I'm operating, what I'm going to do for the entire year. Now you should be able to do that too. Remember, the numbers do not lie. Another reason why this has been so important for me to actually understand was because I've tracked these things. And I remember times just like even going up, I've got a sales director here and me actually going to my sales director. You guys got some?
Let's try 1 call to see.
You guys want to do 1 caller?
Yeah, we want to try to see if
Let's
it
try
works.
it works like on
We're gonna, let me finish this thought and then we'll try a caller. So what I remember going into meetings with my sales director saying, dude, I'm freaking busting it every single day, dude. I'm working so hard here. Like I'm serious, like, you know, what am I doing wrong? What's happening? What's wrong? And he's like, okay, well, man, look at the data. You know, usually this happened because I had a big month and then I get caught up in like servicing and then I take my eyes off 4 appointments per day because I'm so busy, okay? Not paying attention to what Grant says in the program. Dude, you got to prospect every single day. So then my dials and my talk time were down, which meant my appointments and demos were down. And then all of a sudden I got no deals, but man, I was so busy, okay? I was confused because I wasn't keeping track of the actual data and numbers. So now, like I learned that lesson so many times that the only thing I pay attention to now is, hey, what do the numbers actually say? Let's go ahead and try to take one of those callers. You can try to throw it on?
They have someone on the air. If you want to try to see if
Let's throw it on. Let's see if we can get it to come through.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Mr. Caller.
Nah, bro.
Is there a caller? No caller.
we're getting a lot of calls too.
What's wrong with the lines?
Dude, we're getting a lot of calls right now, man. I want to apologize to you folks at home right now. This is a good topic right here. This is a good topic because this is what I guarantee, like I want you to actually do a test with yourself right now if you're at home or at work watching this. Where are you at on a scale 1 to 10 of actually keeping stats? Where are you at? 1 being you don't do it and 10 being, dude, I track everything. Like I'm literally 10x in it. Where are you at on that scale? Because I'm telling you, there's opportunities on tracking this information. Not like this is where you'll be able to predict what happens, or know, hey, dude, do I need to shift gears? Do I need to change what I'm actually doing? Because what happens is, for me, I show up to work every single day and I work so hard. I'm working so hard. I'm always on the phones. I'm doing so great, but I'm not getting appointments. Guess what I do? I go back into the program because I'm like, hey, the data the data, which is the most important, because the data never lies to me. Okay, my feelings will lie to me every single time. My feelings always lie to me. They're like, Steve, you're working so hard. I'm like, I know, what's happening? Oh my God. And then I check the stats and I'm like, I didn't really do anything. Okay, so not getting appointments, here's what I do. I go here. If you want to, Francisco, if you want to show this, I'm going to show them what I do. So if I'm not getting appointments, I go back into the system and I say, okay, well, where do I want to get my appointments from? Am I going to get my appointments from warm calls, like people that I know? Am I going to start working my power base? Am I going to start calling back customers that I work? Am I going to start working the people that know me? Because that's a different type of call, guys, than a cold call. Because if not, then I'm going back to a cold call. But maybe let's just say that appointments are up for you. Let's say your appointments are up, man. You feel good. Appointments are up. You're doing, like for me, it's 4 appointments per day. That makes a difference for me. So maybe that's your same number. Maybe it's not. Maybe you need to do 10 appointments today. I don't know what you sell, but for me it's 4. So let's just say I'm cranking. I'm doing 4, but I'm not getting people to show up. And I'm like, man, why aren't people showing up to my appointments? What's happening, right? So appointments are high. Show rates are not high. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to go in. I'm going to say, okay, well, good. I'm going to look at 2 things. Number one, this is actually a little secret that I'm going to tell you. Incoming calls, even though you're making outbounds, has the most unbelievable content on controlling the call and setting the appointment right here. Highly, 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 highly advise that you do this, even if you're making the outbound phone call. Just based off the content, I would tell you to look there. But the other place would be here. So master the cold call. Check this out, guys. Master the cold call. You go in here and we scroll down. So we're not talking about getting past the gatekeeper right now. Like I'm getting the appointments. I'm just not getting them to show, which means I need to go to cold call process. That means one of 2 things. Number one, my big claim is way off. Like they don't even know what they're showing up to. So they're not sure what they're showing up to. So guess what happens? They don't show up. So if I set an appointment with you, I may take a phone call and I'm like, hello? Yeah, I'm running and gunning, right? You call me out of the blue and I'm like, hello? Yeah. Oh, no. Call me. I might just say, hey, call me back. Call me next week or something, because I'm a nice guy. I'm not going to tell you, hey, dude, don't ever freaking call here again, you dirty thing. So, you know what I mean? But I know you guys talk to those people, right? So you might get nice guyed. Somebody like, oh, yeah, no, hey, let's talk on Thursday. Because they're too nice to not tell you to like, hey, don't ever call me, right? They block your number up and they get off the call, okay? Or they put you on the calendar. Most of you do this right here. They get put on the calendar and then they don't ever show up. Why is that? Well, big claim, okay? They don't know what they're showing up to. So I can't ever figure out that my big claim is all out of whack. My value prop, my appointment setting skills, I can't ever figure that out if I don't actually track the data. If I don't have the stats to say, hey, people are saying, yes, I want to see what you have, but then they're not showing up. Maybe they're confused about what they're even showing up to. That might be that you need to change your pitch, okay? But let's just say that's not you for a second. You're good on appointments. You got a lot of appointments. Your appointments are crushing it. You're the highest appointment setter on the planet. People are freaking dying to be the type of appointment setter you are. And they actually show up. And so the data says, man, you're great at appointment setting. People actually show up. You're a great cold caller, great whatever. But you're not closing deals. You're like, and then it's you again, where it's like you dealing with your feelings. You're like, oh my God, I'm working so hard and I'm so busy, but I don't have any money to back it up or deals. Well, if you don't have the data and the stats, you can't actually read, hey, what's going on here? So what I would do is I would do this. If I'm in that situation, I would actually back up and say, hey, you know what, man, maybe my presentation skills are kind of off. So where do I get information on presenting the product? Well, sales process right here. Sales process. Maybe my sales process is off. Maybe my sales process is off for a number of reasons. So what I'm going to do, let me break into something before I show this. You guys are going to get a lot of information out of me on this call. So if you clicked in, nice job. A lot of people, what happens is they don't get people enough information once they get to the appointment. So like if you're like me and you do appointments over the phone, I got to get people Let's just say if you're familiar with football, right? What happens when you got a football field? Okay, you've got the football field, you've got the end zone, right? End zone, and then I've got all these different yards. So my job, no matter whether I'm talking to a customer, my job, so let's just say I kick the ball off, right? You guys familiar with that? You kick the ball off and then they catch the ball. So customers got the ball right here. And my job, I got the ball, I need to get them in the end zone of a deal. What happens is you got to take them down. They're different. You're running a different play when they're all the way back here rather than if they're all the way up here, right? It's a totally different deal. Just go watch a football game and just see, hey, is the play that they're running way back here the same play as they run here? Or what about here? It's different. It's a lot different. So my job is to get them as far up as they can go. Now let me give you some stats. Let me give you guys some extra data. So if you're working retail, your furniture, your appliances, mattresses, mobile phones, auto dealer, your customer is 57% of the way through the buying process before they walk into your store. So your guy shows up right here. He's already halfway through the deal. Why? He's been shopping online. He's been checking out inventory. He's been shopping around for price. He checked out best prices. He went to Amazon. He found 38 different ways to buy the exact same product. So like, dude, the guy showed up to your place because you had maybe the cheapest price or some sort of like discount or guarantee or whatever. Something got him there. But I'm going to play a different play if I'm 57% of the way through rather than way back here, right? So when you're setting appointments, you guys got to identify, hey, dude, where am I at on this playing field right now? Because I'm going to run a different play. Because like for me, let's take me for instance. So I'm back here. Let's just say I'm back here. I know that when I'm on this side of the field, for me personally, I got to tell people who Grant Cardone is. Grant Cardone, he's a New York Times best-selling author. He's the world's #1 most recognized sales trainer. I'm having that conversation way back here. I'm definitely not having that conversation up here. Okay? Up here, maybe I catch a guy at this point. Maybe he meet and greets me right here, but he's like, dude, I'm a Grant Cardone fan. I've been following him for 10 years. You know? Or maybe he's like, I've been following him for 25 years. I've been following him since you were a baby. You know? Dude, that guy's way up here with me, right? So I got to treat him like that. I got to find out, well, what have you done before? Right? So let's go back to this. So now we're identifying where. So let's just say we've got appointments up. The data says we got appointments up. The data says our show rate for appointments is up, but the data says that we're not closing deals. So I'm trying to find out, man, what is happening? Where is the deal breaking apart? Am I asking the right questions? Am I learning about the customer? Am I identifying where they're at in the buying cycle? Right? So I kind of gave you this everything I'm showing you right here, Grant's going to talk about in the fact finding. He's basically talking about, he's not going to show you this is kind of my idea of it. This is what I think of. Grant's going to tell you that, hey, look, they're 57% of the way through the buying process if you're a retail. If you're not, if it's a cold call, dude, the guy started all the way back here. So you got to treat it like that. If you don't treat it like that, you run the wrong play, what happens? What happens in football when you run the wrong plays too many times?
You lose yards.
You lose yards. And then what do you got to do?
Turnover.
Turnover on downs. Okay? Lost the deal. Okay? This is the way I see this whole deal. So I got to find out from fact finding. I'm just going to run you guys through a lot of stuff. So that's why I always ask on my presentation, which Grant talks about in the fact finding. He's like, hey, how much time do you have for the appointment today? What's going to be the most important thing you're looking to take away? Have you ever done this before? How are you doing it now? When was the last time you looked at something like this? I'm going to find out all this data so that way right here, when I'm on the 50 and the guy's like ready to go and I know how to sell them, I'm going to know how to present the product to them. I'm going to know what pieces of inventory to offer them. You know, this is stuff you guys got to do too, because when you're talking to a guy about a boot camp ticket versus a 10x 360, guy trying to scale his business from 10 to 100 million, that's a different conversation. Have you ever done this before? What have you done before? What have you done with us? What have you done with other people? Blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to find out, this is how I present the product to them. But I don't even care about it. I'm not even thinking about any of this stuff if I don't know the actual stats of like where I'm at. So my appointments, my appointment show, my actual demo ratio, like what am I closing, where the money's at. And if you can just track stats, you'll know what to look for. And then that's going to help you at Cardone University, because then you're going to be putting your attention on what you need to have attention on. So you might be good on appointments and like you're hustling every single day and like you are the phone slanga Jenga, you're freaking ripping it down. But dude, you show up at home every day with no money. So then you start saying things like, man, this business is hard. Man, this industry is tough. Man, it's the economy. Nobody's buying right now. Man, what's wrong? And you start using all the different excuses in the entire world. All you got to do is just go back to the data. Go back to the data. The data is the most important thing. The data will never lie to you. It will. This is from experience. I hate the data sometimes. Okay, I got a love-hate relationship with the data sometimes, because sometimes I'm like, oh, the data is always right. My freaking feelings were wrong. How could they be wrong? So you guys got to see that, right? And then you're going to know what to train on inside the program. And this is where you got to be really honest with yourself, where maybe your presentation skills aren't so good. Like I've seen a lot of people who can't close a deal. Like this, I'll just tell you, like I work with a lot of companies. First question, I'm not the first, but one of the first questions I always ask, like, hey, where's the biggest opportunity in your business? Guess what they always say? Everybody always says the same thing. It's almost like this hilarious joke that I have running with myself. It's, so where do you guys see the biggest opportunity with what you have going on there? And then they say closing every time. Every company says the same thing every time. It's hilarious. And I'm like, really? Good old closing, okay? I actually know that it's not closing. It's way before closing. Like you would be good at closing if you knew how to do everything else correctly, right? If you knew how to do everything the right way, like you knew how to create the cookie recipe, you knew how to make the recipe, how to put it all together, you knew how to put it in the oven, just the hardest part you had was just taking it out of the oven, something's up with that. It's like, man, I doubt that would be the case, right? So, hey, tell me what, yeah, exactly. Hey, tell me what's going on with everything before that. Hey, love that it's closing, man. We've got everything on that. Tell me what's happening before that. And then I can start to break down what's really going on. And then I say, hey, show me your numbers. Show me your data. What's happening? How many phone calls are you guys making? How much talk time do you have? How many presentations did you guys do last month? And then I can actually start looking at the trends of how they work. Like I know how much money I'm going to make all the time. So it's not even a question. It's just more of, okay, I'm trending this number. I'm trending X number. I don't want to trend that number. I actually want to trend something higher. So now that I've looked at the data, now I know where I need to put some extra attention. I know where to like throw attention down. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I got to put my head down and go into appointment setting mode. Maybe I'm like, dude, if I want to double my income, maybe I don't do 4 appointments per day. Maybe I try to figure out how to get 8 appointments per day. Or maybe I start working it differently. Hey, how do I pitch? So maybe I just do 1 appointment, but there's multiple companies there. Ooh, maybe I'm working a different avenue, right? So I can't ever look at that if I don't actually understand the data or know the data. So this is Cardone University, guys. It's a program that is designed very, very, very specifically for you to make money and to make more money. And so if you're not making the type of money that you want and you're on Cardone University, I want you to really pay attention to these masterminds, because I'm going to break down everything you need to know every week on how to be successful, how to understand everything, and then how to apply it to what you're doing. Grant gives you all of the information inside the program. That doesn't always mean that you watch the video and like you fully get it. Grant is known for saying that you only hear things that the first time you hear something, you really actually only hear the things that you agree with. So if you're brand new, you're not making a lot of money, or maybe you are making a lot of money, like, hey, how do I get to the next level? And you're watching these videos and you're only doing it one time, you're only picking up on things that you're like, ooh, that's good, that's a good idea. Ooh, I never really thought about that. It's just because you agree with that and you're like, I like that. I guarantee you watch that same video 30 days from now after you've been applying that, you're going to hear something different. You're going to get a new idea. It's not that the material is different, you're different. And this is how you want to go deep on the program. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me every month and they're just like, hey, how did you get so successful? Because they know where I came from. Like if you know my story and you know like, hey, where I came from, I shouldn't be here talking to you right now. I should be somewhere on a farm in Indiana, raising cattle, driving backhoes and maybe doing landscaping for somebody. Like, who knows, but I'm not. I'm here because I figured it out. And I took Grant Cardone's content and I learned how to make a lot of money with it. And I learned how to actually take the data that he uses, like this one video has changed the whole game for me. It's how we run our business. So I'm going to show you guys the video again. Since I had 100 ways to stay motivated, I tell you guys that I watch 100 ways to stay motivated every month. Some of these videos I watch more than once a month, like potential, magnetism, or the follow-up, the magnetism, those are all favorites. Today, I'm talking about time management. If you guys want to save time, you want to save heartache, you want to learn how to grow your income, this one video right here is basically the one simple thing that you need to pay attention to, and you guys need to do it. And so there's one thing of watching a video, and then there's the other thing of just actually watching the video, taking in what he says, and then actually doing what he says. That's the number one thing that people do. They're like, that's a good idea. And then they go back and do the exact same stuff that they've been doing. It's like, dude, what? It's like, here's how to get six-pack abs. And you're like, love that. Let me get the Big Mac. Okay? It's like, dude, stop doing what you're doing right now. I want you to, if you're on this call right now, I want you to take out your phone. And if you're on your phone, I want you to minimize me. And I want you to pull up your bank account. And I want you to look at it. And I want you to ask yourself, how good do I need to get at this? Because if you don't look at the data and if you don't look at the actual numbers yourself, you're not going to have the right why, and you're not going to know what to focus on. And then all of a sudden, you invested in videos on a website, or you're just some salesperson at some company that your company says, hey, you need to do these training videos, and they don't even do anything for you. And so you just become somebody that, like, you've got a gym membership, but you don't get any results. So, is it the gym that's actually the problem? Calvin, you go to a gym?
Yeah, I go to a gym.
How many people you think go to that gym?
200.
200 people. Do you guys go to a gym? How many people go to your gym? Okay. How many people do you think go to the gym you go to? So 200 people. Are there varying levels of results?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. How bad? Think of the worst person in that whole gym. I mean, like bad.
I would say like negative results.
Yeah, negative results. Okay. Now think of the person who's like nasty, like 4% body fat, freaking ridiculous, dude. Like veins popping out. Like they got the right veins in the right places. Like sometimes I'm like looking at it, and I'm like what? Like how did you get that? Like there's different results. Is it the gym or is it the people actually working out in the gym? It's the people, dude, every single time, man. So is it Cardone University or is it you and the way you're using Cardone University? I'm just showing you guys the way it works. So like this is what we do here every Wednesday. We talk about, hey, how do we take this information? How do we blow it up? Stop being average. How do I stop being average Steve and I get to freaking blow it up Steve? Okay, that is what I want you guys to ask yourself. So Grant Cardone will tell you 6 segments every single day, guys. Every single day from the program. Make sure they're the 6 right segments. Make sure you guys are actually studying this to know, not just watching videos. So, guys, thanks a lot for showing up. Every Wednesday, I'm going to come back to you. This week, we talked about statistics, keeping stats. Keep your stats, study them, look at them, trust the numbers, don't trust the feelings, and you guys will be all right, okay? See you guys back here next Wednesday on the Cardone University Mastermind.